we actually just want to trigger this switch once. So this whole check with elapsed time and round start time, we only have to do this if we're currently in the intro phase. So what we can do here is drag this off, get the phase, and look for switch. Switch on E phase. Connect this here after the elapsed time. Move this up, press Q to align it. And only if we're in the intro phase, we want to go into this branch. So if we start again now, you can see that wait is only printed a single time. This happens because first, we're in the intro state, then we do the check, and then we go into the wait state. So even though the timer increases, we're not going to trigger this branch anymore. And now since we know this works, we can get rid of the print string, select and delete. And just compile and save to be safe. So after we go into the wait phase, we want to have a small random delay before we go into the attack phase and show the exclamation mark. So what we can do here is drag off the wait, set wait, and add a delay node. And here we want to have a random float in range. And here we can have the minimum delay and the maximum delay, and it's going to pick a random number in between every time. So what I think is good here is to have it between 2 and 5 seconds. 5 seconds. And after that, we're simply gonna set the phase. You could have also just dragged it out here and set it to draw. And we're gonna have a print string again and print draw. So compile and save, go back to the map and play the game. So we slide in, we wait, and it shows draw on the screen. So now the exclamation mark should show up, which we're going to implement next. And you can see that when I close it and start it again, it's going to show up with a random timing between those 2 and 5 seconds, which is exactly how it is in these kind of games. And again, instead of just having these magic numbers here, we can create some space and draw off from the minimum, promote the variable, call it min draw delay, and draw from maximum, promote the variable, max draw delay. And align them, compile and save. And now we could just change them here in the default value to make it easier and cleaner to show what's actually happening here. So let's work on showing the exclamation mark now. So what I want to do is go to our content drawer, go into the blueprints folder, right click, and create a new blueprint class. This is a very simple class, so just select the actor. And I'm going to call this BP underscore exclamation. And open this up. So we simply need to click on add in the components area to add a sprite. A paper sprite to be exact, select it, and for the source sprite, look for the T exclamation sprite. And just compile and save. So again, to make sure this shows up in front of the map, we can use the translucent unlit sprite material and look for the translucency settings and set the translucency sort priority to, in this case let's actually set it to 2, so this would even show up in front of the characters, not just in front of the map. And compile and save. Then go to the map, and we can simply drag this BP exclamation into our map. However, we want to make sure that it's in the middle, so select it and go to details, and we can set everything to 0. The XYZ, everything should be 0, so we know it's in the middle of the map. But when we start now, it's always showing, which is not what we want. We only want to show it once the attack state happens. So inside of the BP exclamation, we can create a function. So just go to function and press on plus, and we can call it set visibility. And in here we can grab the paper sprite, set visibility, drag this here and align it. And we can simply grab this new visibility and attach it here to set visibility to create an input. And create a reroute node to clean it up. And yes, so this creates basically a function that we can call from outside of this BP exclamation. So we can call it from our game mode. So just compile and save. And we want to go to begin play and call this function we just created. And on begin play, it should not be visible. So we compile and save. And when we start now, it's not visible, which is exactly what we need. So we first need to get a reference to this inside of our GM Dual. So open up the GM Dual, go to begin play, and here we can drag off and get actor of class. Not all actors, but get actor of class. And this is a little bit of a heavy operation, so you definitely don't want to do this on tick or call it frequently, but just calling it once on begin play is totally fine. For the actor class, we can look for a BP exclamation, and we're going to get the blueprint as the return value. So here we can drag off and promote the variable. And we can call this exclamation ref, because it's a reference to that blueprint. So then when we go to the attack state here, we can get rid of the draw and drag out the reference to our exclamation mark, and first check if it is valid. Because maybe we forget to set it into our scene and the game mode is not going to be able to grab it. And in that case, we don't want Unreal Engine to crash or behave weirdly, so we can just check for is valid. If it's not valid, we can have a print string and say exclamation not found. So this will then tell you that you need to put it into the scene for this to work. And if it is valid, we can just copy and paste this or just drag it out here again. And then call the function on it, which is set visibility. Not this one down here, but actually call function which we created. And set the visibility to true. And compile and save. And when we start now, it's not visible. We go into the attack state and it's showing up. And it will always show up because nobody is attacking. Later on, when somebody attacks, we want to hide it. So in this video, we actually covered a lot of different things. How to create a game mode, how to create a timer and handle it in the game mode, how we can use enums to change our phase. And currently we have the intro phase, the wait phase, and the draw phase. But we cannot switch into the finished phase because nobody can attack right now. So the next thing we want to do is enable the player to attack. We'll take care of the NPC later, but yeah, in the next chapter we'll allow the player to attack.